to find a sheltered place to sit for a little bit and catch up. Um, yeah, that'll do. It's Saturday the 16th of May. The past 2 weeks have probably been the busiest in Edge Rowing's 5-year history. For those that don't know, Edge Rowing turned 5 at some point during this time. So Pauline and I celebrated it kind of a month or two ago, but I don't know the exact date of when it started. Was it the website? Was it the first post? Was it when I started making documents and programs? But yeah, we've just booked literally like 48, 72 hours away from home to decompress, because there's this friction between me loving the work that I do so much and then going overboard and doing too much with it. But yeah, I just thought it'd be a cool time to kind of like reflect, just decompress a little bit before we jump back in, because there's still so much to do when we get back. But yeah, I wanted to tell a story of how Edge Rowing got started and just share with you my thoughts on what's been going on and what the future of Edge Rowing holds and what my life holds as well. So a big old fat life update for you all. Basically, for those that don't know my story, the short version of it, I was bullied in school until about the age of 11, 12 pretty heavily. And then I found sport. I found hockey. I used to live in Canada, and that became my outlet and expression of who I was, and it just gave me so much confidence. And through getting better in the sport, I was able to build my confidence, and then the bullying stopped. So for me, there's always just been this deep connection with sport for me and just improving my life. Moved to Scotland, stopped playing hockey, took a year out, partied a lot in high school, and then got fucking bored of it because it was the same thing every weekend. That being said, I've then probably picked one of the most repetitive sports that you can do, which is ironic. And yeah, from the age of 18, I just went full on into it and fell in love with it. And actually, step back, when I was playing hockey, I always loved the idea of professional sport. I started it at 11, which for anybody that knows hockey or even most sports, you're like very hard to play professionally. I played like Div 2 in Canada for my city, so that was decent, but kind of Div 1 was where you needed to be, and you need to be the best player by far in Div 1 to ever be considered for kind of like proper NHL stuff. It's incredibly hard to get in, obviously. Maybe you could have played professionally in Europe. Anyways, I always loved the idea of professional sport, and when I heard that rowing was a sport you could start relatively late, and I was also at a point when I was looking to do hard work, and I love I was very close to actually joining the Royal Marines. I'm glad I didn't do that. Anyways, that's a whole nother story, but yeah, I was just at a point where I really wanted to challenge and push myself, and that was exciting for me. And rowing obviously does that if you want it to. So I went full on into that. Massive ups and downs. And from the start, pretty much told I was too short to make it. And for me, that didn't matter. Like, what I think I enjoyed most about it was just that feeling of improvement and how much you could pour yourself into it. And it's part of the reason I find golf so frustrating, because there's very little relationship between input and output. Rowing is obviously very different from that. You focus more, you push more, you're generally going to go faster. And yeah, for the first year or two, I really went full send, and then got too overconfident. I'm giving you guys kind of fast forward version of this, and dropped back down and got injured, started going out again. And it was kind of this pattern, and something even to this day, where I notice when my sport is going well, that my life is going well, and at that point my sport wasn't going well. So then I started partying loads, and my injury didn't get any better, unsurprisingly. And coming out of that phase, when my injury did start to get better, I still had those bad habits. And that chapter of my life, from probably about 2015 to about 2017, was filled with like so much doubt of ever being able to make it into the GB team. Like, it's hard for me to express the friction there, and not just the back injury. Like, I got a chronic back injury 18 months into a sport. going to take the sunglasses off so you can see my eyes. Yeah, 18 months into a sport, no, 9 months into a sport, I got a chronic back injury. And I was like, I've just started and I'm already fucked. So there was that. And then coming out of that kind of dip phase, long dip, I was mentally, my mindset was terrible. I wasn't pushing myself hard. I wasn't training consistently. There was this weird, difference between me wanting to get into the GB team, but then when it actually came to doing the work, I didn't do it. And anyways, along this whole point, I was doing coaching at the same time, which is me trying to get to the kind of story of how edge rowing came about. And I was also at an age where, these rocks are not fucking comfortable at all. Ow. I was also at an age where like people were finishing university. It's kind of like get a real job, and I was dealing with so many comments about people being like, "Get a life, Jack. Why are you still rowing? Get over yourself. Like you're still like living on your dad's couch." And while I still got value out of the sport, it was something that weighed on me a little bit. Like that I was like wasting my 20s because I was kind of half committing to rowing and not really committing to anything else in life. Like I still couldn't go away on weekends with Pauline, who, by the way, the whole time was just incredibly supportive. Like without a doubt, wouldn't get to where I've gotten if it wasn't for her. There's especially a point in 2018 when I was very close to doing teacher training, and everybody that I know and that Pauline knows that has done that has ended up having to stop rowing because it's just so demanding. And she was like, she basically just said, don't do it and commit to rowing. She gave me her support to go full on into it. And yeah, coming out of that, and this whole time I was doing coaching as well, like as a part-time job. And coming out of that, I then got coached by Ricky Walsh, who massively, massively changed my mindset. And it's the same lessons, we teach our athletes, and changed my life. And he helped me massively. Volunteer coach. And then Colin Williamson at Edinburgh, he massively helped me as well. He got me the kind of last steps into the GB team. And yeah, when I got into the GB team, I was getting funding, which was fucking awesome. I was getting £1,000 a month initially. And while I was in the most expensive part of the country, I was getting money for doing a sport. I was like, booyah. And it's breaking even each month. I need to get the budget sheet out that I had, but I was literally penny, like I was counting pounds, like literally working out. Like I had a formula to work out what was the most efficient, how many grams of protein could I get per like pound spent. And it was fucking broke as a joke, but again, loving it. And then I needed to find an additional way to bring in income. And I couldn't do like part-time coaching because the training was too demanding. So, saw other people doing online coaching and thought, honestly, I was like, if they can do it, if they can do it, I can definitely do it. And I can do it a lot better than that. And I remember starting that off that I was like, 100% building. There's a massive opportunity here. And I had this vision of, building out a team and, linking everything together and having this incredible support around the world, which kind of leads me to now. But anyways, I'm just out on a run right now, run/hike up some fucking hill. You obviously saw me like cutting up my legs. I'm kind of worried. Apparently there is snakes in Spain. They're very, very rare. The venomous ones are, but I've got like a bit of a phobia of snakes. But yeah, let's finish off the rest of this run and then I'll keep the chatting going. We're going to chill out at the pool a little bit and doing a little like edge rowing summarized. Yeah, look at this place. God damn. That view. Yeah, so where was I? This is cold. I don't know how long I'm going to last in here. Yeah, and I started off on edge rowing, and I can't remember who I was talking to about this, but I hired hired a business mentor basically. And yeah, I was looking at stuff online, found this business mentor's content, and then I started using it, and it was helpful. And then I basically signed up, and I did at the time. It was a pretty decent risk. Basically, it was £5,000 for this mentorship. So I took out a loan. I had no fucking money. I was in the GP team. Took out a loan for £5,000, paid it, and yeah, started just doing everything that they said. And pretty quickly, like, started to work. I remember at the start though, like, one of their things was like, this is something that stuck with me for a long time as well, is business is basically do a good job, tell everybody about it. So first you need to start doing a good job. So how do you do that? You get people to work with you for free. And I was literally in Instagram DMs begging people to work with me for free. And I got 2 people that signed up. 2 other people did, but then they just fucking ghosted me. Shout out Shabana. She was the first one. And yeah, she ended up working with us for a couple of years. And yeah, I just went full on, did everything I absolutely could do online to help people and coach them and to get them the transformation, whatever that was that they wanted, whether that was erg PBs, improving their technique, their mindset. And it was also cool as well at the start. I remember like mindset being the pillar, and that's what people often ask, like, why is it edge rowing? And there's kind of 2 reasons it's called edge rowing. Is because one, it's about maximizing the limited amount of time that you have with your training, and in the 40, 60, 90 minute windows that people have to exercise and train each day, we treat that window like they're professional athletes, and the support that we do everything we absolutely can do online, and now more of it's in person now, which I'll get to get that person the improvement that they want. And yeah, from there, that the other side of it is mindset. Like for me, that is the edge. Like, it's your mindset. You ask athletes who are competing I don't know if you're going to be able to hear with this wind, who compete, I'm trying to like block the wind, who compete in the Olympic A final. They all have different technique. They all have different, training programs, but I think that's fun. It looks kind of stupid me doing this. They all have the same mindset, and you ask them for advice, they're not going to say, you need to do this drill, or you need to do this amount of 500 repeats. It's always going to be around mindset, and that for me was the huge lesson I learned from doing sport, was how to train your mindset and how to make your mindset better. That's what makes the biggest difference for your rowing training, and it's also what makes the biggest difference in your life. Like, that's where you learn skills that you can take to other areas of life. And for me, that's the cool thing about sport. Yeah, making a boat go backwards fastly did that make sense? Is cool, and winning races is cool, but at the end of the day, it doesn't really fucking have much of an impact on your life unless you're a professional athlete. And where the real tangible differences are made is in your mindset. So yeah, I mean, from day one, I posted mindset content, and it always flopped. Like, would get the least amount of engagement out of anything. Yeah, I was like, fuck it. Like, it would always be techniques or workouts that people were, and like, fair enough, but like, it matters, but nowhere near to the level of mindset. So that's, for us, has always been a huge pillar, is mindset. And it's why we only hire coaches that have rowed at the highest level, because they also understand that mindset is the most important thing. And it's not just be tougher, be more focused, don't get distracted. Like, that's not helpful. It's the actual steps to improve your mindset. And yeah, we were just on a call. We're developing a new mindset training method that we're rolling out with our coaches, which is cool because I also learned this from working with a hypnotist. I don't know how much you're going to be able to hear with this wind. I'll try that. And hold on, I might try and... Oh shit. What was I talking about? Yeah, that's why we only work with coaches who have rowers who have coached but also rowed at the highest level, because that is the most important thing, and you only really understand it if you've done it yourself. And yeah. So anyways, that's how it started. And from there, I basically just me on my own with Google Sheets, Zoom, and a screen recording software, built out the training program and just went full on as much as I could. Basically, my days were, and it's still to this day, it's roughly the same. Spend 15 minutes making a video, 15 minutes filming it, sending it to an editor, and then the rest of it just doing as much coaching as I can. And yeah, from there, gradually built out our service, built out resources. Like we just have too many resources. Like there was a stage when I was like, I listed out every single problem I could think of that people had that we worked with, and just made a resource to fix it. So that was something that helped, and it's almost a little bit too much now. There's so much stuff that we don't even use, just because it's not organized enough. So that's something I'm working on right now anyways. But we then started to look at where a big differentiator was who were the people we enjoyed working with the most, who were the people that we got the best results with, and from there we found that was busy professionals over the age of 40. And yeah, the other side of it as well, it was normally their money when they were paying for the service. So they would always, when it's your money, you always listen to the advice more, where we would work with students or high schoolers, and we've worked with plenty of great ones, and we still do occasionally, but sometimes part of the problem is that it wasn't their money, so they wouldn't get the best result they could. And again, that's what matters the most for us, is giving people the best transformation we can. So yeah, we then in around 2023, I got out of my way. And again, this whole time, like, I'm investing, reinvesting, getting training from physiologists, from psychologists, from even just business, like mindset coaches for me, for growing the business. And I've learned how to transfer that into the service that we do now. Because as I'm learning, I'm then passing that on to our athletes, and it's kind of cool the way it's so transferable, like different skills. Well, the same skills in different situations. So many tangents. So that was a big change for us, was actually being specialists in like a certain demographic, because then we could really level up like our coaching and really get specific on the problems that our athletes were having. Shortly after that was when we hired our first coach. Shout out Alan. He's still with us. He started off part-time and then gradually expanded, and that was a huge change for me, because it was a massive limiting belief for me, thinking that if I was not going to be the main point of contact for an athlete, then they would be upset, because they would see me in videos and think, oh, right, okay, he's helpful, right, I want to work with him. It's like, no, I want to work with people who he believes in. I want to work with the system that he has. And from that point, first thing happened, people didn't care. As soon as they found it, they're like, cool, I'm working with Alan, awesome. And I was like, what do you mean? You don't want to work with me? It was a little bit like happy, but at the same time feeling like, why don't you want to work with me? I'm amazing. But yeah, that was funny. And then the next part was that they actually started to get better transformations, because for me, I was, my focus is split. There's making videos, there's building out resources, there's the financial side of it, there's the admin, the taxes, all of that shit. You're just spread so thin that when you bring someone on and their sole focus, I'm getting quite cold in this bathtub, by the way. This is not a bathtub. Their sole focus is to fucking coach, is to check in on WhatsApp, is to look at the data from their training program, is to write their training program, is to do calls with them. Their sole focus is that. They're just going to do such a better job so long as they're the right person. Yeah, anyways, what did that look like from there? From that point, we then hired another coach, and that was somebody who ended up not working out, but then hired another coach, and that was Taylor. And that was a kind of friction point where I was getting shiny object syndrome, and I was doing too many things that actually didn't move the needle. And that was the most stressful part for me, was when there was a point, without getting into the nitty gritty of it, because there's some stuff I don't think I should share, but I was really stressed as fuck. And looking back on it, I've learned that it really did give me confidence coming out of that, and looking back on it now, that stressful periods can be overcome when you've got support. And that's the thing as well. I had support at the time, and big parts of these unlocks were me reaching out for help and knowing, getting out of the way of myself and not trying to do it on my own. But yeah, it's good. But yeah, what else? I mean, from there, yeah. I mean, Pauline's pointing to herself that she's not getting enough attention. I mean, obviously, yeah. I mean, Pauline for a while was the HR when I would be like talking about things to do with hiring. She's like, "Don't do that," and I'm very glad I didn't. But yeah. Anyways, from that point on, there's probably about 2 years when I really struggled to hire, and I think part of this was me and limiting beliefs, and the other side of it was just not finding the right people, because I'm very picky with who we hire. And again, yeah, recently I've spent a lot of time figuring out how to hire and how to hire the right people and how to actually have a process and how to do interviews and all that stuff and how to advertise a job and how to onboard and all that stuff now, to the point where we've doubled our coaching capacity. Well, more than that. What have we? Yeah, we've had 2 coaches for a long time, and now we have 5. So more than that. And yeah, with that, we've then be able to serve all the people that want to work with us. So again, that's another thing, is like, don't say yes to anybody who has a credit card and wants to work with you. That was a big thing. Like, that was pretty early on. I worked with this one athlete, and they were a fucking nightmare. Like, just terrible attitude, toxic in the community, and they were just so annoying. It's like, fuck this. I don't care about money that bad. And like, from once we started saying no to people who either we didn't think we could help and they were a good fit in terms of like kind of mindset, culture, that sort of thing. So when we stopped saying people to who we either couldn't help or who didn't think was a good fit for our coaching, that was a huge, huge difference maker as well. So, which is actually a big kind of now bottleneck, because I need to figure out how we can have somebody who does the interviews for people who apply, and that becomes their sole focus. So that's the kind of next chapter. But that's basically all I've been doing the past 2 weeks, is because we've had all this capacity, we've had so much demand for a long time, and now we had a big influx. So I was just booked fucking solid 7 days a week from like, I would go to the gym in the morning, start working at about 8 a.m. and take calls until probably 9 or 10 p.m. and then be done. And yeah, it was cool. And there was also a part of me where there's the limiting beliefs that, hold on, I'm going to get out. I'm getting cold in the tub, in the bathtub. I'm going to get outside and sit in the sun. And yeah, one of the things that I think was stuck out for a while was when it was, the 2 coaches and myself, was the limiting beliefs, because kind of in order for us to grow, I needed to become much more of a manager. And I think I'm extroverted, but I'm also very introverted. And I think I had limiting beliefs around myself about how much I would like being a manager and managing people and being a boss. And I think I prefer kind of being more of a coach, but I mean, it's basically the same thing. And again, had to do lots of work on myself. I think sport is a great personal development tool. I think rowing is one of the best sports for personal development. And I think being a business owner or self-employed is one of the best business or personal development jobs you could have, because you're constantly, if you're growing, you're constantly having to reinvent yourself and find out what your limiting beliefs are and learn new skills, and which is something I really like about it, especially when I'm, it's harder to realize that in the moment, I think, but when I look back at it, 100%. And yeah, like I had to do a lot of work on myself. Like, and that's where I actually did some work with a mindset coach. And yeah, I was able to get rid of some of the limiting beliefs that I have. And now one of my favorite things is being a manager and working with staff and helping support them to work with our athletes. And Richard Branson, I remember one quote from Richard Branson that he said, if you take care of your people, then your people will take care of your customers. So I think that's such a good way of putting it. And from Edge Rowing's perspective, our number one priority is our staff, because if our staff aren't good, then they can't take care of our customers and our athletes. Same thing, obviously. And if you prioritize your customers, but not your staff aren't going to last very long, and then that's not going to help the customers that matter and that deserve the best support. So, yeah. And just like recently reflecting on this phase of intense interviews and onboarding, making that mic again, the wind's picking up. Oh, I don't know how well that's going to work. Yeah, that intense period. I think if you told me about that like a year or two ago, that we would be onboarding that many people and doing that many interviews, I'd have shot myself. I'd been like, that is an incredibly stressful, it sounds stressful and horrible and uncertain. And now we've done the onboarding, and because we have the right processes in place and because we've done the right training for our staff and everything's systemized, it was so like easy. Like once we brought the athlete on, like we had all these new people, and I was, oh my god, like, oh, like stressed about it. But then I realized that I was checking in with the staff, hey, how you getting? Everything is going like perfectly. And I was like, wow, like it's working. Like, so that for me was cool, and a cool thing to look back on. The one thing I'm just more and more excited about, obviously to not get carried away, but to also be confident in my ability now, the skills I've learned, to continue to find awesome coaches and then find the right athletes for us to work with. So I'm just so excited about that. And again, a year or two ago, the thought of that was just so off-putting, which is kind of strange. But yeah, next phases for Edge Rowing are going to be we will be expanding into another thing I was just thinking about is delegating. And I do very little of the operations now as well, and we've hired so well, and we've created the right systems that I don't need to focus on the actual operations of the business as well, which is cool. I'm very much right now doing interviews for athletes and then helping in part of the kind of hiring process. But anyways, next step for Edge Rowing. This is cool. I haven't really talked about this that much. 2026, we're going to World Masters. We have a huge amount of edge rowing athletes going there, and we're going to be doing loads and loads of edge rowing crews. We're getting edge rowing registered as a club. Hopefully get that done before World Masters, and hopefully before Scott Champs and Brit Champs. And number one is going to be our athletes having edge rowing crews, and part of our service is going to be for people from around the world. We got someone from Vancouver coming over to Bled, Slovenia, someone from Australia, putting people into doubles because our athletes are passionate. They want to improve their rowing, and a lot of the time they have great clubs and great volunteers there, but just through the nature of group coaching, they're not able to get the support they want. So by that, they're very passionate people. So matching those up with other edge rowing athletes from around the world, it just makes for such fun crews. So that's going to be this year is the kind of first time we're doing that. We're working on how we can bring that into the service, where you could go to any of the big masters races in the world and there'd be a crew boat there for you. You can just show up and know that you're going to be rowing with people of the same mindset, the same technique, and the same philosophy. So that's really, really exciting, and that's just starting to happen now. And then longer term, what we're going to be doing is building out bases around the world where there's going to be a coach station there, and there's going to be our own boat station there. And what our athletes will be able to do is just, whenever they feel like it, go to one of those bases, get coaching in person for a weekend, maybe meet up with their doubles partner or whatever, their quad or whatever, get a session in person, and then go back to their home, continue with our, which is still going to be predominantly online, and just have a really nice continuous service of the support online when they're at home, and then when they have time and they fancy a little break from home, they can jump somewhere for a weekend. Like, for example, what we're thinking of in the US is either somewhere in the south, so that people can go down there in the winter, like Florida or Texas, which is very easy, if you're in New York, to just go down, and then maybe somewhere in London, and then maybe somewhere in Europe. And yeah, Australia is somewhere we want to expand into as well, but that's longer term. Yeah, that is what's going on. I'm incredibly grateful for my life, for the people in it, this one especially, and yeah, the athletes that we get to work with. And again, it's when I work so hard and get so focused on what's next, it's very easy to forget about what we have and what's here. And yeah, I just love it, and I wouldn't have it any other way. And just what a cool place to reflect and be grateful. So yeah, I'm gonna round up there. Anything you want to say?
I don't know. Hi.
Hi. Oh, you shy? You know.
I just didn't know what to say.
Fair enough. Any thoughts on the edge rowing and how it's changed over the years?
I'd say it's changed a lot. I would say it's changed, like, in so many ways. It's changed so much, so like it's grown so much, but like the core part of it, I don't think it's changed at all, which I think is quite surprising. I don't know. You've just been saying the same. What I mean is, like, you've been saying the same stuff from like day one to now.
What's that?
Like the mindset and like just wanting to like give value to people. I'd say that, like, I don't know. I just feel like obviously it's always surprising to me how much time has passed in it, because it doesn't feel like a lot of time, because it feels so similar to what it maybe did at the start. I don't know.
Cool. Yeah, that's cool. Yeah, I never thought of it like that, but that's very true.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's consistency.
Consistency is key.
Cool. Yeah. Right, I'm gonna stop fucking making content and just be in the moment. But I wanted to do that. Part of why I do these vlogs, and I was talking to Pauline about this on the way out, was like, oh, now that I'm not gonna work, I'll have so much time to vlog. But like, I vlog because I like vlogging, and I make this content not to like grow our audience, but to kind of share our story as part of it. I like watching other people's vlogs, and I like making vlogs, and also I like looking back on these. And I watched one of my vlogs from like a few years ago, which was cool. And I was like, wow, how much I remember I was talking about what I was working on. I was like, wow, I remember how much work went into that. And now I can't wait to look back on this in whatever 5 years time, or 10 years, or 20 years time, and just reflect on it. So yeah, it's as much for me as it is for you. I know this kind of content doesn't get as much engagement if I just posted me rowing, but fuck it, I don't care. And adios. We're going to enjoy the rest of our 24 hours in Spain.
Bye.
Hello. Oh, there's one other thing I forgot to say about the vlog. Recently, I've been doing a lot more rowing, getting my rowing fitness back, and I've felt so good. And there's something about rowing fitness that just makes you feel a totally different way. And my mind is so much clearer, my mood is better. And there was points before when I would cut out drinking, get good sleep, eat well, and run. And now I'm at the kind of other side of it, where I'm doing the same, cut out drinking, sleeping well, eating well, but I'm rowing. And wow, the difference in my mood. I've just been feeling so good recently. My HRV is up. It's like nearly doubled. Maybe stress is lower as well, but yeah. Really, I know there's a whole nother video topic, but a big thing for me was managing alcohol consumption. So yeah. Anyways, just wanted to share that as well. I've been feeling really good recently.